behalf of Afghans for Peace, and I'll be reading a little statement that we came up with as a response to the massacre that took place this Sunday. It is a quiet night in the village of Panjwai, Kandahar. Children are sleeping next to their mothers in simple mud homes. The quiet night is disturbed by a sudden loud explosion. A terrorist has entered one of the homes. He sprays a rain of bullets on the unsuspecting children and mother. He is on a killing rampage as his bullets splatter the children's blood on the walls and floor. He does not even spare the 2-year-old clinging onto his mother's chest for dear life. He then proceeds to burning the deceased bodies by pouring chemicals on them. This terrorist does not wear a black turban on his head, nor a beard on his face. Instead, he wears U.S. military fatigues with the American flag sewn to his heart. On March 11th at 2 a.m. in Panjwai, Kandahar, another massacre has taken place in the name of American democracy. In the past few days, the mainstream media, along with NATO's propaganda arm, attempt to paint this as an isolated incident by a lone rogue soldier. But the surviving witnesses tell a very different story. They mention several soldiers being present during the massacre. As disturbing facts and photos of scorched bodies of children emerge, it is evident that there is no more to this act of terrorism by soldiers. It is evident that is more to this act of terrorism by soldiers from the same base as the kill team soldiers. For those of you who don't know, the kill team was a group of American soldiers who would pose with the bodies of dead Afghan civilians and cut off their fingers as trophies. Looking at these repeated massacres over the last decade, it is evident that these are not isolated incidents, and in fact, a direct result of not only the training of these soldiers, but the very nature of war and militarism itself. Once again, just like the kill team, we the Afghan people received shallow apologies from US and NATO officials with no real accountability of the system that creates these monsters. It hasn't even been 2 days since this bloodbath occurred, so how can we accept the apologies for an intended massacre? Our tears have not yet dried up, and they never will. The blood splattered on the walls of these houses, the scorched bodies of our children, and the pain in our hearts will always be a reminder of the slaughter that took place in order to liberate us. We hope you hear this loud and clear, that in the process of our liberation, you have made sure that we can never be free from this misery unless you leave. We are living, breathing, dead bodies that have died with the ones we loved, although we still have not lost hope for unshackling our nation from these repressive hands that drop bombs, not food, that kill lives, that kill, not save lives, and that take everything in exchange of a promise that we never asked them to make. We do not wish to endure this freedom that you have imposed upon us. The masses see this conflict through the eyes of the occupier, and it is time you see this pain through the eyes of the occupied. Over 16 dead and 9 of them children. We are enraged by these ongoing atrocities. We are left with our throats dry as we choke behind tears. And so, as we grieve worldwide and hold vigils in multiple cities around the world to mourn our dead, we, the people of the world, are refusing to let this act of terrorism go unnoticed. Thank you. At this time, I would like everyone to take a moment just to remember the 16 that were killed in this massacre, as well as the thousands that are slaughtered across this world in the name of an imperialist war on terror. Okay, up next we're going to have Riaz Sayani Mulji, who will be making a statement.
Thanks, Mia. That was very powerful. So I'm here, my name is Riaz Sayanimology. I'm part of Hamilton Coalition to Stop the War, Students Resisting War and Occupation. I'm not from Afghanistan, I'm from Uganda. Please do not say stop Coney to me. So I'm here to talk about, I guess, hypocrisy we see. Over there, has everyone seen Feed the Bus? So Feed the Bus is about empowering residents of downtown Hamilton. Hamilton has one of the worst poverty problems in Canada. We have more than 20% of our residents living under the poverty line. But at the same time, we find the time and the money to spend more than $20 billion a year on the military. The war in Afghanistan has cost us more than $20 billion, and it's just going to skyrocket and skyrocket. How do we have time to militarily intervene in another country but can't take care of our own residents? And then in Ontario, Dalton McGuinty is cutting program after program, slashing social service after social service. But we have money to spend committing massacres. And trust me on this, it is not just American troops. We have Canadian troops implicated. I do not forget what happened with the Afghan detainee abuse. I do not. We have to question our priorities as a society, that we can spend money on the military, but not on our own. It is unjustifiable. It is unjustifiable. So I ask you, do not think of Stop Coney. Think of Stop Harper. Think of Stop Obama. Think of Stop Blair. That's what we need to be thinking about as a society. Thank you.
All right, everybody. I just want to share a few of my thoughts with you today. Okay, I'm of the opinion that this form of oppression and killing and slaughtering of families will keep going on and on and on. We're just going to go up here, complain, and hold moments of silence, and it's just going to go on and on. And why is that? It's because we live in an economic system that thrives on war, okay? The more we go into this economic depression, the more wars we're going to see. In my opinion, as students at McMaster University in a privileged country, our job and duty should be to discuss this economic system and how we can replace it with something that fosters a human love and peace.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, my name is Dr. Carl, as the students call me. And I'm here really as a scholar of Bertrand Russell and just working on the Vietnam War Crimes Tribunal that Russell came up with. And it's strange to hear Martin Luther King in my ears when someone went up and said that how can we spend money in Vietnam when we have poor people in the south we can't eat. And it's the same story as Ahmed was saying, that we have been living on a war economy ever since, and although Eisenhower warned us about it, and that just has to stop. So some people will just have to turn on, tune in, and drop out and say, this is enough, we have seen this before, and we don't want more of it. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for coming out, everyone. My name's Brendan. I'm co-chair of the Hamilton Coalition to Stop the War. I want to thank Afghans for Peace for putting this on so quickly. As a larger community organization, it can take time to get an event together, but this was very fast. People are very passionate about this issue. You see this sign behind me? Bring the troops home now. If you go to the Hamilton Coalition to Stop the War website, you'll see this sign 5 years ago, in 2007. It's been a staple of Hamilton demonstrations. We've been calling for the troops to come home for 10 years. 10 years is how long NATO, Canada, the United States has been in Afghanistan. And for what? For what? Where's the schools? Where is the women's liberation? Where is the democracy? All of these things we were promised, including a short war and a short occupation. None of it has come to be. I was just on a radio interview with Zafar Bengash, an Islamic community scholar who came to McMaster very recently. And he said, the resistance to occupation is inevitable. No matter how well-intentioned Canadian soldiers are, no matter how well-intentioned some of our politicians are, if you occupy someone's country with a military, there's going to be incidents of force, okay? We wouldn't want people in Canada from other countries building schools or building highways with a gun barrel pointed at us, okay? We don't want Afghans occupying Canada and building things here. They don't want us occupying Afghanistan and building things there. They're proud people, they're an independent people, okay? And there's been an issue of what they call cultural sensitivity. Every time there's been an incident of violence or massacres, Koran burnings, the United States government steps back and says, don't worry about it, okay? We just have to have a bit more sensitivity training. How can you have sensitivity training when you're bashing down people's doors and houses, you're pointing guns and flashlights at women, you're taking men, women, children away, people are crying? No amount of sensitivity training is going to get beyond that barrier between an occupying force and an occupied people, okay? So even now, Americans are catching on. 60% of Americans want out of Afghanistan. About that number think that the war was never worthwhile in the first place, that Afghanistan should never have been occupied, that there shouldn't have been a war of this nature. Now even people who are Republican, not just Democrats, but Republican, are saying that the United States should exit Afghanistan now, even before Obama's 2014 deadline. So if Americans are thinking that, why can't our government, okay? Right now in Canada, we have an Occupy movement. We have a movement designed to take a look at the economic inequality that's related to growing wars all over the world, okay? There is also a movement to have boycott, divestment, sanctions, things that are related to Harper's foreign policy. And finally, there's a movement to get out of Afghanistan. So I say, please, join these movements, come out to these protests, come out to fundraisers, like the one on Saturday for Palestine at the Hamilton Mosque, and we can all help everyone get out of Afghanistan and the occupation of Palestine, stop a bloating military budget, and put spending back into the domestic economy to rescue the situation we're in now. Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you all for showing up, and thanks for the local media for doing a cover of this. As I said before, let's not just end with this vigil. Let's take this conversation between friends, between lovers, between family. Think of a solution out of this. Let's raise awareness. Let's not have this massacre happening again and again. Okay? Let's build a new system. We can do it. We have transcended economic systems many times before. It's about time we find one that's for the vast majority of people. Thank you very much for coming out tonight.